Okay, let's talk about Daenerys Targaryen and the Lemongate conspiracy. This whole thing, it all stems from a recollection that Daenerys has of this house with a red door with a lemon tree outside. Now, before we even get into it, I want to say there are a lot of theories. I'm going to run through some theories and give you my thoughts. So, the first is that this is a correct recollection. This did exist, that Daenerys did see this house with a red door with a lemon tree outside. She thinks it's in Braavos, and maybe it is. But the climate in Braavos does seem a bit sus. It's not somewhere that you'd think a lemon tree would thrive. It's a very kind of damp and not super fertile place. The second theory is that it is a correct recollection that Dany did experience this, but it was not in Braavos, it was somewhere else in Essos, somewhere like Tyrosh. Theory number 3 is that it was a recollection that did happen, but it was actually somewhere in Westeros, somewhere with a better climate for growing a lemon tree. The two places that spring to mind are the Reach and Dorne. So one of the biggest theories is that Daenerys visited Dorne at some point. Dorne's the number one. Like, it could still be the Reach, could maybe be Old Town, but Dorne is like the front runner for the theories. Maybe Viserys and Daenerys did visit Dorne at some point. Maybe they travelled to Essos via Dorne, which would not be the most direct route. The direct route would be from Dragonstone across the Narrow Sea. But maybe they were trying to do something different. Maybe they were trying to go incognito. Maybe they were trying to reach allies, because the Martells and the Targaryens, they were allies and they had a common enemy at this point, House Lannister. Or they could have gone directly to Essos and come back and visited Dorne at some point. That is another theory. Yet another theory is that Daenerys and Viserys maybe were split up at some point, because she seems to be at this house with this recollection, the red door, the lemon tree. Viserys is not in the picture, and Daenerys describes this house very affectionately for herself, but she says that it was never a home for Viserys. Now, does that mean that he was just not settled there and he didn't consider it a real home? He was always yearning to go back to Westeros. Or does it mean that Viserys was never at the house with the red door and the lemon tree? So there's lots and lots of options and possibilities, and there's a few more that I want to run by you. Another idea is that this is a false memory, that Daenerys is not actually remembering something that happened to her. This kind of leads on to two trains of thought. One is that the child that is at the house with the red door and the lemon tree, it's not actually Daenerys, it's someone else. And Dany is conflating this with herself. The other is that it's actually not a memory, but that it's a dream or a vision. And that they're not actually something that Daenerys is recalling from the past, but actually they are things that are going to be in Dany's future, that they've not happened yet. She's not actually been to a house with the red door and the lemon tree. The truth is, we just don't know. We don't have enough information to say one way or the other. Hence all of the speculation. I think the idea that this is actually not a real memory, that it's actually something else, I think that might have legs. We know Daenerys is a dreamer. She is seeing things in the world that other people do not. Case in point, bringing the dragons back into the world. That was not random. That was a carefully orchestrated situation by Daenerys Targaryen, because she'd been having these dreams and these, dragon dreams. These things were coming to her that were giving her all of these clues that led her to doing what she did. So when we're talking about things that have appeared in Dany's mind, it's really hard to decipher, is it a real memory or is it something magical that is being presented to you, because we know you do experience them. But having said all of that, being devil's advocate, the whole thing could just be a red herring. George is the type to sprinkle in a red herring here or there. Have us all chasing our tails, trying to work out what it all means. One thing that is interesting about this whole theory, all of these theories really, is a phrase that Daenerys repeats to herself over and over in the books, which is, if I look back, I am lost. So should she not linger on this memory? Is it all a trick of the mind? Like, we're meant to think she's looking back, but actually she's looking towards her future? I don't have the answer, but I do think there's more to this than meets the eye. But which way it goes and what is real, as of yet, I can't say. I think it's unlikely that this house and this tree were in Braavos. But then again, it's hard. How much do you read into something? And when you're getting POV chapters like we get for Daenerys and plenty of other characters, it's hard for the reader to decipher, is this a genuine memory from this person or is it just a thought that they are experiencing? It's hard to tell the difference. Hence why there is so much confusion over the red door and the lemon tree, Lemongate. I'd love to know what you guys thought, or if there's any theories that I've not mentioned here, do let me know. It's a conundrum and it's classic RR. And I think if he ever, like, not that he would see this video, I don't think he ever would see any of my videos, but if he ever did, I think this is the kind of thing that he would be chuckling at because we're all just chasing our tails.